Sorry, guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty on getting the live stream started. So we see we got a few people already in the chat, and it's been a hot day out here today. It was like 100 and some heat index all day long. It's been that way for the last few days, and luckily, I think Saturday night, somewhere in there, we're gonna start getting a cool down and go back cool again. But
Yes.
it was miserable outside today. Worked on the hay mower this morning and got it going. I cut the sorghum Sudan grass this morning. So, hold on. We got more technical difficulties. We are sideways on the live stream. That is hilarious. Oh, hold on. Maybe that's just us, but I think it's.
It said orientation is locked.
Maybe that's just us, but I think it's.
It said orientation is locked.
Yeah. Why is it doing this? Pardon us. We're not set up for this kind of thing. Pardon us. We're not set up for this. Boy, that is. Why can't I change it? It won't let us change it, I think, now that we're set up. So we may just end up having a really weird live stream tonight. I think that's what we're going to end up having to do. So maybe we'll make this shorter than normal. And we'll have to cuddle up next to each other. So, sorry for the technical difficulties. We swear, I thought I had everything set up right for the right orientation, but apparently not. I got to turn the sound off on this one. Okay. I guess we go through the chat here, see what's going on.
I've seen a couple people ask about when you're getting back to the Allis Chalmers.
Yeah, when the front field like has to come first. So it is just one of those things that
Summertime keeps you busy outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's a priority. We got to get it fenced in. We got to get it planted, so that the livestock come first, and we need the extra pasture. So it will probably be getting closer to like fall winter to get it back on it. So
I think somebody said we had an echo. Hopefully that went away once you turn this sound down.
Yeah, hopefully the echo went away. Nathan from out of the woods. Thank you, Nathan. That's very kind of you. I was just talking to him on the phone this morning, actually.
I can't wait to see those bookshelves. Me either, Brandy.
Yeah. So if I get the Allis Chalmers fixed, and then I can get it out of the shop and make Rebecca's bookshelves. So
Somebody's looking forward to the fuel tank episode. That's
yeah,
great.
me too. I mean, it seems like when right now you're doing like the hay and you're mowing, you're cutting the silage. I mean, you're just running the tractor like every day. I got to go get diesel every couple days, and it's I'm tired of it. I'm ready to have a fuel tank set up here. That's for sure.
Are the cows pregnant? No.
Oh, no. Don't seem to be. So Maya's pregnancy test come back negative.
Yep.
And Ellie's.
And she was in heat, so.
Yep. And we've seen her in heat, I think, a couple times now. So she's probably definitely not pregnant. So do you want to discuss what we're looking at to fix that problem?
We're reluctantly looking at renting a bull, maybe buying a younger bull and then getting rid of them before they get mean.
Yes. Maybe, well, we'll see how it goes. So she had inquired about a bull that was fairly young, and then there's another bull that we're inquiring about that was bottle fed, right? And there's a older lady that's out there with it all the time. Supposedly it's a very friendly bull.
So maybe renting.
So yeah, we'll see if we can rent or buy, but that's what we're looking at. And then we would do that, in the fall, or winter, for a fall calf next year.
Yeah, somebody asked, why don't you try getting some beef embryos? We're still kind of new. I mean, the AI thing, that was the first time we've done that. So
Yeah, and I think the embryo is even like more, I don't know, it sounds more complicated. It sounds more expensive
yeah,
than just regular AI. So Rebecca was reluctant to have a bull.
yeah, they make me nervous.
Yes. So I mean, even the steers, like because they're skittish, can make you nervous. And Maya actually makes her nervous just because she's so friendly and she's so big.
Pushy.
Pushy.
She can be very pushy. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I personally, I would have probably gone for the bull, but Rebecca's been, I don't, whatever she says is the right answer.
I just
remember that.
I have to come around to being comfortable with it. So, do you still plan on making a bridge across the pond using the mobile home?
Yes. Yes, I do. I don't know when I'll get to that. I mean, that goes to priorities. I mean, there's always something that needs done that's more important. But, well, it would be nice to like maybe get the foundations put in, like something for it. Maybe not even the foundations. It'd be nice maybe this winter if I could get that inlet to freeze. That might be the opportune time to try to get it like across the inlet because it'd probably be easier to drag it across the ice or to get it to the other side. So I think the winter time is at least a better time to get it at that location. So
I've seen a couple people ask about the dogs.
their scouts right at there.
Yeah.
They're free right now. Like in the evening, they're just free to run, and because it's cooler outside, and so they're getting their run around time. But Scout's just laying here next to this door. I figure Sydney's probably
At the other door.
laying at the other door. Or she's going around looking for
Eggs.
She's like food crazed, so she runs around and tries to find every duck nest there is and eat their eggs, or chicken nests. Because we've had a chicken that's got out a few times and here lately and made a nest somewhere outside the fence, and then she'll kick them off the nest and eat their eggs.
I've seen a couple people that have brought up your new solar channel.
Oh yeah, I want to thank everybody that's gone over there and subscribed to the channel. I do appreciate that. There's like to monetize like a new channel, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers. So we got 3,000. So we got at least that. Now I just need like 4,000 watch hours. I think we're around 800. So we're about a quarter of the way to be able to monetize that. So that does help you guys going over and subscribing. So appreciate that. And I actually put a lot of work into it here lately. So
yes, a lot.
A lot. So there'll be a solar video tomorrow. It's going to be kind of a general. It's going to be on this channel. It's going to be like a general one, like all the problems we had over the first year and like how much money we actually ended up saving. Like, so it's kind of like a year in review and all the little things that I would maybe do different or whatever. But it's just a general video. But we have installed a new system like to add more, and I got it up and running the other day. So there'll be more videos coming to the actual solar channel for all the little bits and pieces of that. So
what's your next equipment purchase? I'd like to know too.
You'd like to know. So I was on the auction sites the other day, and so the one thing I was looking for was pallet racking, because some people will put up pallet racking and they'll build like these, they're like big steel shelves, right? And you can put your tractor implements on it, at least, like maybe store them vertically, save a little space. But so I was looking for some of that, but I'm also looking for a bigger hay rake right now, because that one is kind of small. It'd be nice to get a bigger rake, I think.
Somebody asked about when the pigs are going to freezer camp.
So, of course, I didn't follow my own advice. Like, typically I would say, once you get your pigs, set your butcher date. And I delayed. I did finally call, and they were like, what was it? It was like 4-H fair and all this stuff. And they were like backed up, and they didn't want to even like book anybody. They were too busy. So a couple weeks later, I called them back, and it was like December 13th. And that is at least a good month behind what I wanted. So they're going to be very big pigs when they go. That's for sure. I think even when I was estimating was going to they'd probably be pretty big. So
Dale Wallace. I've seen him on here a couple times.
yeah, he just lives a few minutes away.
Yeah, he was asking if you got the rubber on the mower and tried it out.
Yes, I did. We'll see how it goes. It worked in a couple spots, and the mower's probably a little bit better. It's not perfect, but yeah, I did that this morning and mowed with it. Got everything mowed down out there. The sorghum, gonna bale it into silage hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, I did get the rubber. I got 3/16 rubber, so it's not quite a 1/4 inch thick, but it seems heavy duty enough to work in that application. So
what's the name of the solar channel?
oh, Country View Solar. It's pretty original, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Are you happy with your Emporia circuit monitor?
Yeah. I mean, I don't look at it every day. I don't know if the notifications work perfectly on it. So you can have it monitor a circuit, and if it's like too high or too low, you can have it give you a notification. So like maybe if your freezer wasn't running, you could have it notify you that, hey, we're not getting any power usage on the freezer. I had it set up that way on our aerator out on the septic tank, and I've had it give us notifications when it's aired, and then I've had it not. So, but it's neat to know like what your true power usage is, and I use it to kind of monitor the solar going into that panel, and it's I mean it works. I don't know if the notifications work the best.
I've seen a couple people ask if you regret leaving your other job, or how you're liking not working a normal job.
Well, honestly, like the first few, I mean, I was really skeptical the first month or two when I quit my job. So, very worried that to make ends meet, that kind of thing, making sure that, on paper, everything worked, and to just really apply it and stick to the budget. That's kind of the other part of it. And I think now that this is the end of the 3rd month as a full-time YouTube homestead farmer, or whatever you want to call it. But I think I'm settling into it. Okay. I think I'm perfectly fine with the transition. I'm good. I'm happy. I don't regret it. No.
How's the garden doing?
Well, I mean,
we're getting it.
We have had some big discussions on the garden.
Yeah, we're gonna make some changes for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it just don't work for us like necessarily anymore. It's too much work for us, because back when we built it, we didn't really have animals. I don't even think we really had many animals when we first built it, just some chickens and rabbits or something.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot more time in the garden. Now we have so many other things, the garden kind of falls behind. And we've kind of discussed moving it all we talked about maybe doing like an all raised bed style of garden, but maybe higher up than what they are now. And then we also talked about removing the fence. Because the raised beds we have are like 3 feet wide on the edge, that you can't even reach across them to like get everything. They're too big. And then the fence used to keep out deer, but now we have pasture fence up, and we don't have like the deer and stuff travel through there anymore. So the fence actually doesn't really make much sense anymore, because we don't have a lot of trouble with animals getting into it with just all the fencing and the way everything's developed now. So we may do some big changes to the garden. We want to make it to where it's easier to take care of, I guess. So.
Any new wall of shame items?
No, I haven't broke anything very hard lately. I mean, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's Maggie inside or outside. She's over here.
Yeah, she's pretty blind and pretty deaf, so sometimes she kind of wanders around aimlessly.
Yeah, so here, what, 2, 3 weeks? She gonna be 16 years old?
Yep.
Yeah, she's has a hard time getting around.
Yep.
So she mostly just lays around and sleeps all day.
How's the chestnut grove?
Well, I need to plant the chestnut trees. I was going to do that and maybe kind of go. We actually have, looks like we're going to get chestnuts this year. We have several, what they call burrs, where the seeds are inside of them. Kind of looks like a big sweet gum, kind of in a way, but spikier. And there's like 50 or 100 burrs out there. I mean, there's a lot on a lot of trees. So we planted our first trees, 2016. So I mean, it's taken like 8 years. Yeah, 8 years to finally probably get some true seeds from it. So, but it's looking positive. But so I wanted to mow all that real good and then replant the dead ones. But our mower has kind of broke down. So I got to order some more parts. I went to Lawnmower Place the other day and they didn't really carry Kawasaki stuff. I mean, they had the gaskets, but for the carburetor, but they didn't have anything else. So I got to order everything.
Someone was asking about how much the solar panels cost.
Man, so when I originally bought the solar, I'm trying to remember, it was probably close to like 60 cents a watt per watt. And now there are panels that are like 25, 30 cents a watt. I mean, they have dropped in half of the price. So what I paid for panels, you can get them at like half the price now. I mean, it's just, they've really dropped down. So that's really where they're sitting. They're sitting somewhere between the 25 and 40 cent range on a lot of them, if you look around.
Hamiltonville Farms on there.
You were just live a minute ago. You must have just got done.
Do you regret planting the big stuff in the field? The sorghum Sudan, I guess, is what?
I probably regret planting as much as I did. I didn't realize, I guess, how much forage that would be. And of course, now I've got to deal with it to replant perennial pasture grass. So now I have all this stuff I planted that's in the way. And so, yes, I do regret planting as much as I did. But what I planted that they're grazing on, I'm glad I did that because they have an enormous amount to graze on. And it's really amazing they can't keep up with it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They're never up here screaming for food, so that's nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. How do we like our side-by-side?
Oh, side-by-side's great. Of course, I got that off my parents, and my dad really takes care of his stuff. I mean, he keeps everything like immaculate. So it's like brand new. It's like 3 years old or something like that, but it's like brand new. It's very, very nice.
Mm-hmm. John Dudley, I know you guys have done a lot of cleaning your farm when you bought it. Was wondering what the coolest thing you found on the property.
What do you think?
The tractors.
The tractor. Yeah, so one of the tractors came with the property. The case did. How do you say it?
Verdant
02. Thank you. 23
from the
DC area. Plans to move out to the suburbs and purchase a homestead in rural Virginia next year. Your content's been great. Well, thank you. Well, I wish you luck on purchasing a homestead. Ours, like we were saying, was very dirty when we got it. It was very trashed. I wish we would have filmed so much more of that.
I wish we would have bought it when we were 23.
Yeah, I think that's probably a big regret is not moving out to the country when we were raising our kids. When we raised our kids, we lived like 3 doors from the school, like from the high school. I mean, it was just everything was handy. It was close, but I wish we would have lived in the country instead. It would have been taught a lot of different life skills, probably.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I'm missing some here.
When does Rebecca get to quit work?
I guess when I'm ready,
Well, work's been slow for her lately, so she's got to,
have some extra time off.
yeah, she's got to take some of her PTO time.
Yeah.
And so she's in this administrative, like, what do you call it, planning, like it's discharge planning, and gets a patient's discharge plan and all their stuff together. So their patient load's been down, so she hasn't had to work as much, but she don't really have anybody to fill her job necessarily, right? So it's hard for her to take off because she can't. It's hard to get somebody to. There's only a couple people trained to do it.
Yep.
So, but when do you go quit your job?
When I'm ready, I guess. You should have Hank and his granddaughters do a project with the skid steer.
Hank lives all the way down in Florida. He's pretty far away. I'm sorry about the live stream being horizontal. 100% my fault. I don't know how to set things up, so sorry about that.
When do I start my cooking channel? Evan bugs me about that, but.
Well, the thing is, she loves to cook, and I should probably film some of what she does, but she's always cooking for church all the time. What did you make the other day? You made like this gnocchi soup the other day. Like everybody at church, a lot of people didn't even know what gnocchi soup was. You made, what did you make? You made something out of the apples. You made some kind of apple dessert.
Apple dessert.
Mm-hmm. Did you make for church?
Oh, it's just like an apple Snickers salad.
Apple salad with
It was
Snickers.
Caramel and marshmallows.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Baking and desserts, that's really her thing.
Yep, and reading.
Yeah, so today was cleaning day for Rebecca. This is the day that is her day, and I try not to bother her. So she cleans the house, does the laundry, and reads books or does whatever she wants, and I try not to bother her too much. And it's kind of like her day to do her own thing.
Mm-hmm. Any advice on the sorghum Sudan if you were to do it again? Farmer Tyler Ranch is thinking about doing it.
Oh, no. Oh, the story. Well, we did have like a wet summer, so that's probably helped ours look a lot better. We had really good conditions, but I would just plant a few acres, just something to throw on in the summertime when there's no grass, like, and let your pastures rest while you graze it. I think it's a good thing, really. I mean, when it's like 100 degrees, 90 degrees outside, that stuff wants to grow, and cool season grasses don't. So I'm not sure what you have out in California, if yours are cool season grasses or not.
Get a couple people on that cooking channel.
Yeah. Well, she likes to bake bread, and yeah, I try to convince her to, but she's scared of the camera most of the time. She does well on here. She does good in front of the camera.
How energy efficient are those freezer fridge?
I think they're like Energy Star, but I couldn't tell you how efficient. How many we got going right now? We got 3 out in the pole barn going. We got 1 in the basement here. Every one we got going is a convertible freezer fridge too. We've got like 4 of them now.
Still have all the barn cats, yes.
They've all survived so far.
Yeah, they seem pretty smart, so.
Yeah, we haven't named them all, but there's a couple we've named. Like, yeah. One's called Spaz because he's just like crazy and very entertaining to watch. So.
Anything new on possibly milling your own lumber?
Well, I think so I love watching, like Nathan it out of the woods, cut, saw logs. I love the sawing channels, but the reality is I don't think that we have enough to feed a sawmill, to buy one. in my head, I have a place picked out for a sawmill, but I just don't think that it's like probably feasible. If we had more woods, probably so. I think we've only got like what 7, 8 acres maybe of woods on the land, and a lot of it's not big trees. So I just don't think that it's unless we got them somehow from some other way.
Are you going to stick with the sheep?
Yeah, I think so. I think at least for now, I'm not like they're
really good grazers.
Yeah, I mean the sheep graze so well that they won't eat hay at all unless you pin them up in the barn, right? And then they'll eat hay because it's the only thing they have. But they'll eat. You have to manage them. That's the problem because they'll just eat it down to nothing, and they'll just stay out there and eat it. So you have to like manage sheep. That's the only kind of problem with them. At least a cow, you put them out and then there gets less grass. You throw them a hay bale, they'll just come up and eat it like a sheep won't unless you pin them up, seems like.
Are the sheep for freezer camp?
They go to the sale barn is what we're doing with them right now. So. Sorry about the vertical live stream. That was somehow when you set it up, so I'm casting this from my cell phone, okay? Because we don't have it set up. If we did it on a computer upstairs, it'd probably be a different story. But when you set it up on your phone, you have to tell it which direction, I guess, the phone's going to be in, and I somehow messed that up. And once it's set, it's locked in, and it won't let you change it. So.
A few people have been asking about the barn drainage since it's going to be getting to the wet season.
Yeah, so I actually showed a snippet of that today when I was videoing today after this afternoon. It's just not a priority at the moment. It is dry back there right now. Like, it would be a good time to do it. It's just I've got other things that need to be done, and as long as the animals can get in the barn. Like right now, we only have sheep there, so they can come around and go in the barn. They don't have to go back there because like half of that area, or maybe a third of that area is wet, and the other 2/3 isn't. It's just that 1/3 of the very back that's a problem, and we'll get to it eventually. It's just I gotta focus on this front field. You kind of hate having to do the same thing over and over and over and over, but you just got to get it done. Just got to push through it.
Yeah.
I know people are asking where the dogs are. The dogs are outside on the porch.
Running around.
Actually, Scout was laying there. I don't know where he is now, but they're like free to roam right now. Since it ain't hot out, this is their kind of free time in the evening. So, and then when it's at nighttime, we don't have to worry about them like trying to run to their neighbors and bother the neighbors either. So, yeah. So during the day, they're mostly in air conditioning all day.
How big's the front field?
It's 12 acres, the front field, and I'm going to try to plant 6 of it. I'm going to try to plant half of it in cool season pasture grass here over the next few weeks. And then other half I'm going to leave as that sorghum Sudan mix and just graze it as long as I can. And then next year I'll try to plant the other half, and I may not plant all of it. I may leave a small acre or two just to plant sorghum Sudan every year, just to have some for the summertime.
Oh, there's the farmer.
Yep. Hey, Jill.
The total farm's 41 acres.
Oh, yeah, total farm's 41 acres. So there's, man, it won't add up if I try to add it up. So we got 3.5 acres of pond, which eats up a little bit. And then we've got 6 acres of hay. And then we've got this 12 acres, and we'll end up with, I don't know what it's going to end up being. It'll be about 14 acres of pasture, somewhere in there, 14, 15 acres of pasture, and then 7, 8 acres of woods, somewhere in there. And then, of course, our yard and the orchard, the garden.
Yep. I've seen a couple people ask if we hunt the back fields.
We didn't last year because we forgot to, and I still haven't done it this year, so who knows. We didn't put in for our landowners permits, so we didn't have our hunting permits last year.
Well, plus we've had so much meat that we haven't needed deer.
Right. That's kind of the thing. Like, we typically just hunt until we get one for the freezer. Sometimes we've gotten a couple, but when the freezers are full, you'd rather eat beef. I mean, so what I do with deer, I usually take it all and I just turn it into like summer sausage and jerky, kind of that specialty stuff, and just process it ourselves and make our own. But I don't know if we'll end up hunting this year because I don't have the permits, and I just never think about getting all that filled out and sending it in.
How's the duckweed situation?
Okay, so the pond, yeah.
Changes every day. So
Yes. So the last few weeks has been cooler. Like it's been what, high 70s, low 80s. The duckweed hasn't been terrible. You can really tell it when it heats up. Like as soon as it hits like the high 90s, it's just covering everything. So it's almost covered again. And the aerator pump stopped working. I went out to check it, and it had power, but it wasn't even like humming. Like, you know, like when a motor's locked up and it has that hum, didn't even have that. So I think that the motor on the aerator ended up burning up. I got to take it out and mess with it. But this hot temperature we have now, the duckweed just goes crazy.
yeah. Well, I was fishing last weekend, and it was like clear up here, and now it's filled in.
Yeah.
So, any news on getting a bull? We're discussing it.
Yeah, we're looking at maybe purchasing a young bull or trying to rent one.
Yeah. Would like to see us do some fishing this fall. So would I.
Yeah, we would too.
Yeah.
That's the terrible thing is like to fish, the wind has to like blow that to the other side of the pond. And then most of the time to do that, the wind's from the east. And then fishing just usually is not very good when the wind's from the east, it seems like. So it's hard to find a good fishing day.
But the carp we have in there are huge.
They are huge.
When I was fishing, there were 3 of them down there, and one of them looked like it was at least 2 feet long. It was gigantic.
Yeah, I'd say maybe even more than 2 feet long.
Yeah.
They're huge. Of course, when you can, they seem like their backs are almost out of the water. Like they're right at the surface. Yeah. And you get close enough to them, you can see those big scales. They got like the goldfish scales, except they're just like white and black instead of like the orange color. But they just got, you see all those big scales on them. They're very cool to look at.
Did you find, someone was asking about the hydraulic tool, I think, for your lines.
Okay, so yeah, so I know a lot of people suggested a couple different hydraulic tools. So one was like a thing that went on an ag coupler with a screw, and it would push in on the end of it. It would relieve the pressure. So somebody sent that. And then the other one, but the problem is the ones I was showing were the flat face couplers for skid steer. They're completely flat. They don't have like the little nub on them. And and then people also sent the little quick clamp where it's got like little hooks to grab the hydraulic couplers and push them together, like the skid steer ones. So they've sent those, links and ideas over to me. But the problem is I know everybody, I do my best to turn off the tractor. I turn it to accessory and click the third function. I try to get all the pressure relieved when I unhook them. And I wouldn't be able to even hook them together. I put them together. You wouldn't even be able to put them together if they were under pressure. And they sit out in the sun or something. They seem to just pressure up, and then you can't hook them up a few weeks later for some reason. That's just I try to do my best to relieve all the pressure beforehand, and it's kind of a pain. And I don't know if it's those skid steer ones, but they sure seem like way harder to me.
A couple of people have asked about the firewood shed. Yeah.
So, yeah. The firewood shed, it will probably end up being fall winter activity, I would say. And I need to cut firewood. I need to split it. I've only got like one single stack of regular firewood. I do have a big pile of hickory, and I've been trying to save that hickory because it would be really good for people that have a smoker. But I do need to get some firewood all split up, or we're going to be running probably short this winter. So anyway, it's probably going to be front pasture comes first, so probably be a fall winter activity. But I would like to rebuild that whole thing, and that's a huge task. Like you really think about it, because I got to move all of the firewood out of the way and just get it out of there. I got to tear the structure down, build back a new structure, and there's old concrete. It's got a concrete floor in there, and it's in pretty bad shape. But it'd be a big task. It will be.
I saw W. Ryan. My wife's a fan of Rebecca's work sandals.
Yes. So I know everybody in the comments, like, they hate Rebecca's sandals, and she's going to get her, toes cut off, her feet hurt, everything. I give her crap all the time about you're wearing the wrong shoes. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you ain't going to change her mind. I try. She can't stand for her feet to be hot.
No. I get overheated, especially
Yeah.
when we're working outside for a long time.
Yeah.
It depends on what we're working on. I mean, if it's super dangerous, then I do put my boots on. I have.
Mm-hmm. Or if it's going to be like super muddy,
or possibly
manure
snakes or
and stuff like that, you might. Yeah.
A couple people are surprised that we have to get a permit to hunt on our own land.
Yeah, so it's if you own 40 acres in Illinois, you get your permits for free. Mm-hmm. So the problem is you have to fill out a form. You have to send in a copy of your deed, that's stamped from the courthouse or whatever, and you can get all your permits for free for each person that lives in the house. So I can get 2 archery permits, 2 shotgun permits. Rebecca can get, that. We get turkey permits. But that only lasts so long, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you need to send in the paperwork and refresh it. And that's where we kind of screwed up, is I don't know if I have a copy of the deed. I may have to go to the courthouse and get a copy of it to send that all in. So that's where the hiccup is, trying to get our permits, but they will be free.
Somebody mentioned the fence guy was awesome, learned a lot. Are you changing the way you'll put fence in next time?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot. I mean, yeah, Vance knew so much, and I learned a lot in the 3 days that he was here. And I'm going to try to apply, what he showed us. So I do have I have new tools that they provided me. So I've got some of them chain tighteners. So I'll use those instead of come-alongs. And they gave me another one of them stretcher bars. So I have 2 stretcher bars now. I had one previously, so I can do the center pull and pull it together. So yeah, I'll be doing it differently and try to follow what he showed. I mean, the guy, that's what he does for a living, and he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
What is a regular? That's probably a hunting license. So you gotta buy your hunting license. That'll probably be like I'll have to still buy a hunting license, so that'll be probably $30 or something like that. And then our permits will be free. And I'm not sure what the permits are, only probably $20-$30 also for in-state. It's the out-of-state people that come to Illinois and try to hunt. Out-of-state permits are like $250, $300. They're really expensive, but permits aren't expensive. There's just so many of them. There's usually a lottery. You put in for them, and then you're not guaranteed to get one, and it's all different by county.
See, there's some other people that agree with me on
the what?
Being barefooted and not letting your feet get hot.
Yeah. Yeah, we thought about making a little T-shirt design up that said Flip Flop Farm Girl or something like that on it.
Teases me,
so. But you get I don't know if anybody would want to buy it. And that's another thing. I really would like to make a new logo design. I keep putting it off. I need to contact the person we had make our first logo and see if we can make up like a new design and get some new shirts out before Christmas. Is what I'd like to do.
How many feeder steers are you planning on running once all the pasture fences are done?
That's a good question. I mean, it all depends on how many cows we get. We'll probably end up buying some if we end up with a bull, or if we end up with a reliable way to rent a bull, we'll end up getting some beef heifers. And then it'll kind of depend on how many of those we get, I guess. We'll probably look at running like 6 calf pairs equivalent of somewhere in there. Maybe more. We'll see.
Will you have to Ray K? Oh, I missed it.
Sorry, we're reading the... Yeah, she's a flip-flop farm girl, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So steer, like, I will say that probably the animals we have now, I mean, you got to rotate them, you know, and kind of move them around, but the steers and the sheep are fairly hands-off besides the, you know, pasture management on where they graze. So
Yeah, they've really been hands off since that front field's been planted. Like,
yeah, they're missing in
I
that.
feel
They're
like I
missing
never
in the
see
sorghum
them.
Sudan, like they're
Yeah.
blended in and they kind of disappear in there. So
have you thought about raising quail? No. That seems like a lot of work for a little meat.
right, yeah. Well, I'll say, our chickens that we raise, they're probably, and I know Farmer Tyler, if he's still on here, he would attest to it too, but they're probably the most amount of work. Like for the 8 weeks you have them, or how many weeks, 12 weeks, or whatever you end up having, like at least the way we do it, like running them around in a tractor, like daily, moving them, and then like the whole butcher process. I mean, it's probably, we put more hands-on work on them than probably raising like a feeder calf. Wouldn't you say so? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw asking if we needed to shear our sheep, but it looks like someone answered for us. Yeah,
Oh,
so
'cause
we
they're
have
hair
hair sheep,
Yeah.
so they shed. We do not have to shear them. They don't. It's not like 100% shed, but it's
No, so they shed part way, and a lot of them don't shed very well. But that's genetics. I mean, so it's all about kind of getting like a good ram in your herd, and then breeding in some. You want to find some good genetics where they shed it well, and hopefully we can get that in there. And then as we continue the herd, they'll look better. Some are a little shaggy. In fact, one we kind of nicknamed Shaggy because she's still pretty fluffy.
yeah. Somebody's sheep all died.
Oh,
That's
man.
awful.
Yeah, that's bad.
Ours have been pretty hardy. It seems like, for the most part, they're fairly hands off.
Yep. Do we have a chicken butcher process video? Years ago, there's one like way back. I don't try to show that. A lot of people get upset with that, and then, yeah, I think I've kind of skipped that the last few years. I mean, if somebody wants to see a chicken processing video, they can see it somewhere else. We've got it. I think we've kind of got our process down fairly well. We feel like we got a good rhythm and we can kind of work through them, but I'm not going to probably show any of that. I mean, the most we would probably show is after the butcher, you know, like cutting them into pieces and freezing them and things like that.
Are you ever getting goats? We had goats.
Yeah.
We had them before the sheep. They were like our first bigger animal that we ever had. So we had them for a few years, and
We had them, 3-4 years probably.
yeah.
But they were just, as Brent would say, they are hay burners, right, Brandy? Right. So they just they're cool to watch and play with, and they're very they have a lot of character. So a lot of people love goats because they're full of character, but in the end, they just eat a lot of hay, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So we decided to get out of the goats, and that's one reason. Like the logo we have, there's goats on the logo, and we don't have goats anymore. But we would still keep. I just want like a new design.
Yeah.
We would still keep the old design.
What happened to your case tractor? Is it a 730 or 830?
So the case tractor is a 730. It's a 1961, and it has the eagle claw hitch, that fixed hitch that doesn't have any sway or anything to it. So it's really tricky to hook things up to it. I wish I had like a true 3-point, but I went to go use it. I was going to use it on this last hay cutting, and I went out there to go start it, and like the dash was completely full of a big wasp nest, and then I just ended up saying, okay, I think that's we'll just kind of let it sit for now. So I need to get some spray out there and get them all killed. It needs it needs to be used. I mean, it needs to be exercised and used, and that was kind of be the intention, was to get it out and get it running a little bit, and yeah, it was pretty full in that where all the electronics is supposed to go. I mean, that thing was just a big wasp nest.
I think a few people that have just kind of gotten on asking if you enjoyed leaving your full-time job.
Yeah, I think now that it's 3 months in, I've settled in. It's gotten easier every month, and yeah, I think I've settled into it. We'll see how it all goes. Time will tell, but I think I was nervous at first, so I think I'm a lot better. I don't regret it. That's the thing. Like I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Are we still planning to build a bridge? We are at some point.
Yep.
When we have time.
Yep. Okay, what breed of heifers would we buy? We would probably do like an Angus or Angus cross if we got beef heifers. And we would probably go for we might even just buy like ones we know are pregnant, ones that have been preg checked, and go that route, so that, or you could buy a cow calf pair, but I don't know if I'd trust that it was really its calf, or people try to screw you at the auction house, it seems like. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be best if we could find somebody we could buy them off of. I'd prefer not to buy animals at a sale barn.
Yeah. How much more field do we have to fence in?
How much? We got 3 poles. We got 3 poles left, and I was measuring that today. And the first pole, the one pole we're working on right now, is probably 300 to 350 feet. And then we got another pole that's probably, I don't know, 250 feet. And then, I don't know, another one after that's the longest is probably 400, 500. So we got some work left.
How's the silage? Have you checked the bales yet?
So what I don't know is how long does it need to sit and ferment? That's kind of like my question, I guess. I don't know how long they need to be wrapped up oxygen free for that to go through that process. I'm sure it's like other fermentation processes. It probably is a few weeks at least. I would probably wait I probably need to Google it and look it up, but I would probably wait at least 8 weeks before opening up a bale. But I actually ran into one of the guys I used to work with the other day, and he asked me if I ended up baling them, and I said, yeah. And he said he bought some, or, that they bought some from somebody, and he said the cows, they just love it. And I hear that from a ton of people, like that the cattle will just love the silage. Like they were grain feeding them, and they said they wouldn't even come to the grain. They would just sit there and eat the silage. So I'm hoping it turns out like that. Now the problem is that didn't harvest it till now, so it's super mature. It's already gone to seed, so it's probably not the best quality anyway, and it's thicker. So it's not it's not the best silage in the world just because it was so mature. I guess a lot of people will wait till it's only like 2-3 feet tall, and they'll cut it as silage, and then it'll grow back, and they get a second cut, and then it'll be a smaller stem, and it'll probably be a little easier to eat. So we'll wait and see how it turns out.
Yeah, I've seen a few people say 6 to 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
Our fruit trees are already producing. We've had an overabundance of fruit from the trees.
We planted them in 2016, before we built our house and everything. It's one of the first things we did. The first spring that we owned the property, we planted those fruit trees. We got all those apples that we had in the one video. That was just off of one of those original apple trees, just one of them. Now we have another apple tree out there that's a Liberty, and I think it's probably ready to pick. And then we got like a Granny Smith pie apple, and it's one of the last ones that's ready to pick. So there's still more apples out there to get.
Are you going to be at the farm machinery show again?
I don't know. It's a little early to kind of make that call. I mean, I guess since I don't have to take vacation to do it.
Yeah.
More than likely, I'll probably head down there.
Have we thought about adding rabbits? We did do rabbits too in the beginning. We started with chickens, and then we got rabbits, then goats, and then so on. But
yeah, we've tried about every animal that a homesteader would try. Rabbits was like the one thing, like you could raise rabbits and get a lot of rabbits to eat. But it just didn't seem like a very good life, like living in a cage. I like the way we raise our animals because they're free to roam the pasture. It seems like they've got a pretty good life out there, the ones we raise. Wasn't too fond of the way we raised rabbit, or the way rabbits are raised.
Yeah. How's Rebecca's mice problem since you have more cats? I haven't seen any.
Yeah, there wasn't any mice probably that we'd seen before that. As long as you keep a couple cats,
There were some up where the heifers are.
Oh yeah, because there's no cats up in that barn, so there
is now.
Yeah, so when we moved in all the kittens, one of our cats got annoyed by all the kittens, so he moved up to the white barn. So he hangs out up there now.
Haven't tried bees yet. No, we haven't.
No, so I've said it before, my Uncle Dave, he has a ton of beehives, and he gives us honey every year, so there's really no need for us to raise bees.
There's a Louisville tractor show in February.
That's the one. That's the farm machinery show.
Oh,
Yep.
That's crazy. Seems like that's coming up quickly again.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been that long.
How long have we been on here? So we've been on here about an hour in vertical mode, the wrong mode. It's the most messed up live stream ever.
I've seen a few times people ask about donkeys. We don't plan on. We had talked about it and we had thought about it before. But
we went and looked at some.
Yeah.
And discussed everything. One of the guys I used to work with, he had some, and Rebecca got a pet on him and love on him, but when we found out everything you have to do to take care of them, it's like taking care of a horse.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? It just seemed like way too much work.
Yeah.
And it almost was like, they don't like, he said you got to mix their feed with like straw. Like they don't want too green grass or it could flounder them. I'm not a horse or donkey person, but it was like our pastures were a little too, like you couldn't just, I don't know. We were afraid
And we don't have vets that make farm calls here, so we kind of have to figure out when things go wrong. We have to treat it ourselves, and that was another animal that lives a long time, but we'd have to learn a lot about.
Yeah, it's like a 25-year, 30-year
commitment
or something. Yeah. So no, we've kind of passed on the whole donkey idea.
Have you thought about putting PVC pipe on your forks to move around your wrapped hay bales?
No, that's actually a pretty good idea. I've seen some hay bale movers that looked like that. It was like a round rod, but I think they were hydraulic and they could pinch the bale and move. But yeah, that's like a very similar thing, I guess. That's a pretty good idea. No, I haven't really thought about moving them around. I'm kind of just, I hate to puncture one, so I'm just letting them sit.
No more progress on the Allis Chalmers, I don't think.
No, it's just painted, and I haven't done anything there. Somebody else asked about the case. It's I need to get it running and get it used and use it for something. Get it exercised. We still got them.
Are you still making square bales?
So I was gonna make square bales if we got a third cut. I just walked out there with Sydney and Scout earlier, and this hayfield did not. I'm gonna say it's probably not gonna get a third cut. Now I didn't walk back to the other one. That's our best one. If we get a third cut, I will probably try to square bale it if I can. Mm-hmm. We'll just have to wait and see. So the square baler last time, if you guys watched square baler, had trouble tying. Anyway, it used to, what was it? It wouldn't tie on the left side. I took apart the things. I flipped the cutters around. And the right side I completely took apart and I put back together and obviously didn't get it set up right. After I did that, the left side started tying and the right side didn't. So it flipped on me last time. And I think as long as I get that right side set back to where it was, I think I can get it to work. But who knows?
Roadkill Ranch. It's bedtime for Roadkill Ranch.
Yep.
See you later.
See you later. Dale asked if I'd seen everything up at the auction house.
I was trying to keep you from seeing that. He doesn't need to see
that.
She
told me that the auction house lot was completely full. And they've stopped taking, we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
That they stopped taking, what do they call it? Consignments.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's next weekend. It's not this weekend, it's next weekend. I haven't been up there, but I probably will go look to see what they have.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, probably just answer another question or so, and then we'll get off of here. Sorry that it's vertical. I'm a noob. So we don't do this very often to know how to do it. So.
Your next equipment purchase, that one came up.
I'm looking for a hay rake. I'm looking for a bigger hay rake. The hay rake is the only thing I don't have a spare of. So, I mean, you got a round baler, got a square baler. I've got a sickle bar, and then I've got the mower conditioner. I don't have an extra hay rake. Anything else?
Have you had any issues with snagging things on the undercarriage of your TYM?
Well, I mean, that one video, just where I rolled over that limb and it pushed on the hydraulic thing and it popped that hydraulic apart and I lost, I think, a few gallons of hydraulic fluid on the ground that day. But that was because I rolled over it with the back tire and it pulled that limb up and it just poked up inside and hit that hydraulic line. Other than that, the only thing that snags on the bottom is actually like the hitch, like where the pin goes through. It sticks out the farthest, and it's like always hay and grass and stuff are catching on the hitch pin when you got an implement hooked up.
Several times I've seen people say they recommend a V rake.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was hoping to get a V rake. How many videos have you made in total from the start? I think we are over 950, I think, now. I've taken some down. I've probably taken down 10 videos that I wasn't happy with or didn't feel like they met YouTube's kind of standards because they've changed things through the years. But yeah, we're getting close to 1,000 videos.
You guys have any other questions? Did we fill the propane tank?
No. So we got 2 propane tanks. We got one for the house. We got one for the pole barn. We filled both of them up last year. And the one at the pole barn I used to keep like the shop at like 50 degrees roughly, just to kind of keep it warm. And I think it only used like 10%. It went from like 75 to maybe 65%. So I mean, there's plenty of propane still in that tank. And then the one for our house, we go through about 25% a year. So we fill it up every 2 years when it gets down. They only fill them to like 75, 80%. So it's nice knowing that you have 2 propane tanks. So I think it's nice to have, you got a backup if you needed it.
Somebody, modern old world homestead.
What?
Knows her son, obviously.
Told Garrett, yeah.
How's the mini split working in your shop?
Kicked it on today. I went out there and painted some pipe in the shop, and I think it went from 78 in there to like 75 in about a half an hour, so it cooled at like 3 degrees. I only turn it on when I go out there, and it's a big shop. It's pretty well like to the max. As long as I left it on, it'd stay 70 degrees out there just fine. But if you go out there and just kick it on, it'll probably take it a good hour to get it dropped down to 70. To get it the right temperature. No, but it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to have an air conditioned shop. I don't want to sit there and just cool it 100% of the time. So I go out there and just kick it on when I need it. And it's nice. It feels way better than outside.
Have you thought about adding more hay acres to the front 12 acres?
So I'm going to try to plant it in cool season grasses for pasture, but it's also grasses that you can cut for hay. So it may be more of a dual purpose where I can cut it in the beginning in spring when there's a lot of grass out there and get like one cutting of hay off it. Kind of like what Pete does on Just a Few Acres Farm, where he kind of hays his pastures. And I'm going to at least leave that as an option where it could be pasture or hay up there.
Yeah, a few people are answering for others. I saw one of our longtime viewers on here, CS Nanny.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen.
Yeah,
her.
she's been a long time viewer.
Yep.
But anyway, we'll probably go ahead and just cut this short. I'm sorry that I screwed up the live stream, and
we're up and down.
Yeah, we're up and down. Give you something different to look at this time. We had to sit like we actually like each other. But anyway, I think we'll go ahead and call it a night. Thank you guys all for coming and talking to us. Sorry if we didn't get to answer everybody's questions. So.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to all you guys. See a bunch of people on here from everywhere. It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. But we have good subscribers. Yes. So thank you guys very much. We'll see you later. Bye.